Hello everyone, welcome back to this YM course, Introductions to Farm Machinery and Implement. In previous 2 weeks, we were talking about mechanization, sources of farm power, status of farm power. Then we started talking about plow, different types of tillage, classification of tillage, tillage implements, working principle of tillage implements, and their adjustment, attachments and all. And now in this class, in this lecture, we are going to talk about sowing and sowing methods. So it is another topic in the crop production process. So in the crop production process, primarily 4 operations will happen. The first one is preparation of land and preparation of seed bed. That's all about plowing, maybe primary tillage, secondary tillage and all. Then once the field is prepared, the seed bed is ready, the next operation is the sowing or planting, transplanting and all. So that's what the second major operations in crop production process. And we are going to discuss some of the sowing methods which are quite common for different types of crop. So seeding or sowing, it is the heart of placing seed in the soil. The aim is to have a good germination in the field. So sowing or seeding is just an art of placing the seed in the soil so that the seed can germinate at good condition. The perfect seeding is always have some goals. The perfect seeding is any sowing or any seeding. If it is said to be a perfect, then it should show these 3 goals. The first goal is that the correct amount of seed per unit area must be sown. So seed rate must be maintained. So the amount of seed sown per unit area should be optimum. You should not sow more seed, you should not sow less seed. So sowing less seed will impact on a lower number of plant population per unit area, and that's how reduced yield. If you sow more seed, there will be a more plant population per unit area, but there will be increased cost on sowing seeds. The another goal has to be achieved in perfect seeding is correct depth at which the seed is placed. So seed must be placed at right depth in the soil. Placing seed at shallow depth or placing seed deep in the soil, both are detrimental. So both are not good as far as the germination of seed is concerned. So placing this seed deep in the soil, the plant will not emerge into the surface and that's how it will die. Whereas in shallow sowing, close to the earth surface, the soil will seed will not get sufficient moisture around it for germination, and that's how the seed will rise out quickly and it will not germinate. So placing at right depth is the one of the most expected results from the sowing equipment or sowing operations. Then the last expectation from the perfect seeding is correct spacing between the rows of crop as well as plant to plant or seed to seed. So many crops require spacing between the plant to plant, and many require only spacing between rows of crop, not between the plant. So depending upon type of crop or seed, so it must be ensured that there is a definite spacing maintained between the row, and that row spacing remains same throughout the field. At the same time, so if that plant require plant to plant spacing as well, the same may be maintained. Plant to plant spacing remains same throughout the field. So any sowing, if we are able to obtain all these 3 factors or results, then that sowing or seeding is said to be a perfect one. Sowing or seeding methods, you can have any one of these 7 methods for sowing seeds or for planting seedlings. The most commonly used methods are broadcasting, dibbling, drilling, seed dropping behind the plow, transplanting of seedlings, hill dropping, check row planting. So these are all the most commonly used sowing method, and depending upon type of crop and way of having the way of crop production, so anyone may be chosen. Broadcasting is the very primitive type of sowing method where the seeds are sown or randomly scattered over the prepared seedbed. It can be done manually or mechanically as well. In case of done manually, then the uniformity of seed which are scattered or thrown over the field is entirely depends upon the skill of the operator or a person throwing the seeds. Whereas in case of mechanical broadcaster, it comes with a mechanism that is called as a spreader that spreads the seeds or throws the seeds at uniform at uniform manner, so that the population of plant per unit area more or less remains same. So the main disadvantages with the broadcasting is that the seed rate is very high. You have no control over the spacing between the plant, and you are not maintaining any spacing between the rows because the seeds are not sown on rows in rows, and therefore the seed rate will be very high. So there are some seeds which are very costly, particularly through vegetable seeds and all. So for them, the broadcasting is not practiced. So broadcasting is practiced for field crops, generally for crops like mustard, wheat, rye, and other cereal crops also, because for them, seed cost will not be much, and populations number, more plants per unit area, that is higher populations, are also not a problem as far as their yield is concerned, and therefore broadcasting is quite common for field crops rather than any other high priced seeds, because its seed rate is very high. So mechanical broadcasters are generally used for large scale applications. If you want to sow a land in hectares in a day, so generally large mechanical broadcasters are used. So mechanical broadcaster, it may be a manually held type, man-held type, or it may be a tractor operated type. As you can see in the screen, the both type of mechanical broadcasters are shown here. So in case of manually operated broadcaster or man-held type, it may comes like belly mounted type, where you can hang them over your belly, and it comes with the storage tank at the top where the seed will be kept into it, added into it, where seed will be added into it, and there will be a small opening, controllable opening at the bottom into that device. Through that opening, seeds will fall over the rotating disc, and that rotating disc will get the drive from the operator only. It comes with the handle and the gear mechanism. As you rotate the handle, the set of gear will provide a rotary motion required for that rotor, the spreader. So that spreader will receive the grain from the top and spread them over the field, and that's how the mechanical broadcaster works. In case of tractor drawn, it comes with use hopper. Into this, the seeds will be placed, and at the bottom there is a rotor. Into the rotating rotor, the seeds will be discharged at controlled rate, and that's how the seed will be dispersed over the prepared field. So many cases, these broadcaster are used to apply fertilizer rather than seeds, particularly in case of tractor drawn broadcaster. So after the seeds are sown on the prepared seed bed, it must be covered by planking operation. So seed must be covered with the soil, otherwise seed will not germinate, and for that reason the planking will be done. So planking is something like what we discussed in the secondary tillage operations. While plank was used there, the wooden planking will be operated over. The wooden plank is nothing but a patela. So that kind of wooden plank will be operated over the field where the seeds are broadcasted, and this planking operation will push the seed into the soil, and that's how it make them favorable for germination, make the soil, that's how the seed will come in contact with the soil and they will germinate. So it's a laborious operation, because once you have to throw the seeds, then you need to cover them by planking operations, and that's how two operations here you need to perform, but it is very random operation because you are not going to maintain any space in between the plant or in the rows. So next method of sowing is dibbling operation. So dibbling is the process where the holes are made on the prepared seed bed, and into this hole the seeds will be placed. So this will help to maintain both plant to plant spacing as well as row to row spacing, because this dibbler comes with a frame. Into this frame there will be number of conical pegs are provided. So as you keep pushing this frame over the prepared seed bed, so that will make that number of holes on that prepared bed, and into that holes the seeds will be dropped. Seed will be dropped in single manner, or it will be dropped in multiple seeds will be placed into the holes made on the seed bed, or single seeds are placed. So that's how the dibbling will be done. So dibbling is a precise kind of operation, because here the spacing between plant to plant as well as row to row is definitely maintained, and you are going to add seed into the hole manually, and therefore there will be no missing of holes, and that's how it give you more precise seeding. But it is very laborious, because making hole and then placing seeds in those hole and covering them with the soil, that all leads to time consuming as well as tedious kind of operation, though they are more suitable for seeds like flowers and vegetable seeds. So next method of sowing is drilling. Most commonly used method of sowing for seeds, particularly cereal crops and pulses and oil seeds. So drilling consists of dropping the seeds in furrow line in a continuous flow like manner, and later covering them with the soil. Drilling consists of a dropping seed in furrow line in a continuous flow and covering them with soil. Seed metering may be done either manually or mechanically. In case of manually done, that again uniformity of dropping the seed depends upon the skill of the labor or a farm worker. So there will be number of such rows arranged in the frame, and in a single pass you can able to plant the seed in a multiple rows. So this method is very helpful achieving proper depth of sowing, maintaining proper spacing between the rows of crop, and also have a good germination, because you are going to sow the seed at right depth, and you will be maintaining proper spacing between two rows, and that's how the seeds will germinate in good condition. So drilling may be done by sowing behind the plow, dropping seeds behind the plowing while plowing, or by using bullock drawn seed drill, or with the help of tractor drawn seed drill. There are three ways of drilling the seeds. First one is very primitive one, where the animal drawn plow, particularly specifically indigenous plow, if it is attached with the funnel like funnel and pipe, where into the funnel one can drop the seed, and the dropped seed will be carried into the furrow with the help of a pipe connected into the funnel, and that's how the drilling will be done by using sowing behind the plow. Whereas in case of bullock drawn seed drill and tractor drawn seed drill, they come with the hopper to hold the seeds, and they have metering mechanism to meter the seed at controlled rate, and then that meter seed will collected by the seed of pipes, and the pipe will carry those collected seed into the furrow, where those furrows are opened by the furrow opener, and that's how the drilling will be done in case of bullock drawn or tractor drawn seed drills. So seed dropping behind the plow, as I was telling you in the previous slide, so it requires at least two people, one person to handle the pair of bullocks attached to the plow, and another person to drop the seed into the funnel and pipe, where that funnel and pipe is attached to the plow, or else the one person will keep opening the furrows with the help of pair of bullocks attached to the indigenous plow, and another person will keep dropping the seeds into the furrows open, and this is how the seed dropping behind the plow type of sowing method will be followed. The next method is transplanting. Transplanting is a different type of seeding, where seedlings are prepared somewhere else. Then that seedlings, whenever that prepared seedlings reaches to certain maturity level, they will be picked up from there and they will be placed on the prepared seed bed. So that operation is called as a transplanting. So seed will be sown somewhere else in the nursery and seedlings will be raised like that, and raised seedlings will be placed on the prepared seed bed. So that process is called as transplanting. The equipment used for these operations are called as transplanter. Any equipment used for placing the seedlings which are raised in the nursery and being placed on the prepared seed bed are called as transplanter. So the transplanting operation or transplanting method of sowing is quite common for paddy crops and vegetables and flowers. Vegetables and flowers and paddy, the transplanting is generally followed. As you can see in this picture, the one is the transplanter, that is for paddy. So paddy transplanter it is. Another one is the vegetable transplanter, where it is planting the vegetable seedlings on the prepared seed bed. So another methods are like hill dropping and chakro planting. In this method, in case of hill dropping, the seeds are dropped at fixed spacing but not in continuous stream-like manner. So here the spacing between the plant to plant as well as row to row both are maintained. So plant to plant spacing remain constant in each rows. So in these cases, the seeds are dropped in case of a seed drill, where the seeds are dropped in continuous manner and spacing between seed to seed is not maintained, whereas in hill dropping, seed to seed spacing is maintained. And it is called as hill because in each hill there will be more than one seed dropped. So there will be more than one seed which will be placed in each hill, and that's how it is called as hill dropping. So the next method of sowing is chakro planting. Chakro planting is another method of sowing where in each row, the row to row spacing as well as plant to plant spacing remains same. For example, the spacing between two rows in a field is 30 centimeter. The same 30 centimeter spacing will be observed between the plant to plant also throughout the field. So this method is in this method the seeds are planted precisely along straight parallel furrows, and that's how you will see, if you go and stand on the field, you will find a rows of crop in both directions. There will be rows vertically, there will be rows horizontally also. So the spacing between vertical rows and horizontal rows remains same. So this kind of chakro planting requires a special type of planter, and such kind of planter are called as chakro planter. So what is the advantages of having such a planting arrangement? Because having this spacing row to row and plant to plant same will permit you to have interculture operation in two directions. You can have a interculture operations horizontal between the rows in horizontal direction, also have intercultural operation between the rows in vertical also. So that's how in two directions, two perpendicular direction, intercultural operation can be done. So crop like cotton, red gram, not exactly the red gram, but cotton and other such crops will be sown by maintaining the spacing of row to row and plant to plant same, and that's why chakro planting is observed there. So these are all the very important and most commonly used methods used in sowing or seeding. One is broadcasting, another one is dibbling, third one is drilling, fourth one is plowing seed dropping behind the plow, and transplanting, chakro planting, and hill dropping. So for further information, you can read any one of these books. Thank you all.